Many people have defined vision as the capacity to create a compelling picture of a desired state of affairs in the future. Bob Logan is recorded to have actually said these words, that a godly vision is right for the times, right for the church, and right for the people. A godly vision promotes faith rather than fear. A godly vision motivates people to action. A godly vision requires risk-taking. A godly vision glorifies God and not people. What a great way of just laying a foundation on what vision means, looking at it from a godly perspective. Now, for the next 3 weeks, we will be looking at this subject and this series dubbed A Visionary Sight. And basically, it falls in 3 aspects, which I believe that vision is all about. Vision is all about your present, your past, and your prediction. Your past, present, and predictions. Think about it. When you settle or when you're there driving a vehicle, you have what we call the side mirrors on your right and on your left. And for some cars, you have what we call the rear view mirror that is mostly in front of you attached to the windscreen. Now that basically helps you to see what is behind you, where you have come from. And right ahead of you, you have the windscreen, this huge space wide enough to help you see your surrounding and what is right there in that specific context. Then thirdly, you need a plan. Okay, so when you look at the driver who is seated on that specific seat, he has his side mirrors, the rear view mirrors, basically to show him where he's coming from. He has this huge windscreen ahead of him to basically make him aware of his present conditions. And he also has a plan. Now, many of you and some of us, once in a while, we get ourselves in unfamiliar territories. And before you leave that specific place to go to another direction, you have to sit down and draw a plan in terms of where you are going. Now, that is how I would be able to look at this specific subject and this series dubbed A Visionary Sight. Now, one question that I'd like to pose for you this specific week as we get to look at this specific series for the next 3 weeks is this: what is your past? What is your past? Now, Paul Andrew talks about this subject that he calls hindsight. Now, he defines hindsight as the ability to reflect and learn from the past. The ability to reflect and learn from the past. Now, I tend to believe that each and every one of us has a past. Okay? Now, if there's a book that is recorded in Scripture that brings out the element and the aspect of vision so well, is the book of Nehemiah. So Nehemiah comes in the book of Nehemiah chapter 1, and from verses 6 to verse 10, we can see him making such a passionate prayer, such a passionate plea of commitment and cry to the Lord. Now, in that specific prayer, one thing stands out. We get to see him bringing out that the state of the children of Israel was based on their disobedience. And this brings me to say this, that the reality of life is that our past informs our value system. Now, the values that you have today, believe it or not, have been formed by your past experiences. Okay? And it's been said that if you'd like to see the values of an individual, just check into their past, because the past never lies. Your past is a product of the values of your value systems and what indeed you have gone through all through your life. And it reminds me with the words that Moses spoke in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 7. He comes and he talks about this concept and he says, remember the days of old. Now listen to those words. Remember the days of old. And every now and again, God, when communicating, when speaking through the prophets or speaking through the men of God and the women of God during that generation, they would always come out to the people and tell them, remember the days, remember what God has said, remember what God has done to you, remember what transpired in the past. And this tells you and I that it is very important for you and I to get to reflect and learn from where we have come from. Paul, when writing to the church of Rome, in the book of Romans chapter 15 verse 4, brings it out so well. He comes and he says that the scriptures, the earlier scriptures were written so that they would bring forth instruction to us. And he goes on to say the perseverance and encouragement of the scriptures are there so that we might have hope in them. And right there, we get to see Paul giving a reason in one of the books, one of his epistles, in regards to why we have the scriptures today. They are simply to show us the perseverance, the encouragement, to give us a glimpse of how God related with the people of old, the choices they made. And this is basically to help you and I realize that our past is very, very critical and important. And I believe, yes, we have both good memories and some memories that may not be so good and admirable in our lives. But I tend to believe that experience validates our values. Our experiences validate our values. And this leads me to say this then. Think about the values you wish to live by today. Think about those values that you would wish to commit to in your own life today, because I tend to believe that what you have been through in your life can be a powerful and a great guide to help you respond to the present and the predictions that are at hand in your very own life. And as the philosopher one time said, it is only a madman who keeps on doing the same thing expecting different results. So thank you very much for watching. Feel free to engage us, comment, like, share on whichever platform you are watching us on. God richly bless you.